I'm your host, Tasveer Fatima, Research Associate at SARIM and an advocate for minority and women's rights. Joining me today is our honorable guest, Dr. Rakshinda Perveen. Dr. Rakshinda is a Pakistani women's rights leader, a remarkable writer, and a former senior gender advisor to UN agencies. She is also the South Asian gender advisor to CIDA. Welcome, Dr. Rakshinda. How are you? It's truly an honor to have you with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, to start off our conversation, Dr. Rakshinda, can you take us with your journey working as a women's rights leader, activist, and entrepreneur? As a woman, how was your experience stepping into this field?
Okay, I always found this question very difficult to answer because when the journey is still in progress, it becomes difficult to give an opinion about it. So I'm still traveling, and it is an interesting journey filled with challenges, and all women face challenges that are rooted in patriarchy. But when we talk about women who are from certain minority groups, they have added layers of challenges. So if I have to sum up my journey, because I won't go into details, and if anybody is interested in my journey, they can always Google me and they find something that may inspire them. They may find it interesting. But to be frank, I don't see that I am different from other women who are non-elite or from disadvantaged communities. I'm very grateful that I have many advantages as well. But being a woman itself is disadvantaged, attribute, irrespective of the class. And if you are from not from that elite class, if you're not from that privileged background, if you don't have entitlements, and if you are seen as, or you see yourself as somebody who belongs to a certain minority group, then of course it becomes, how should I put it? It becomes a more advantageous position. So talking about my journey, I will sum up it like this, that it is all about, finding or getting or thinking about and working about justice for marginalized women and girls and communities. And this journey has always been shaped by distance and resilience, then done. And this just implement a multi-layered concept, and we can discuss about it if needed. But I'm all for, not within inequalities. I'm all for dismantling patriarchy, and of course, nobody has achieved it completely, but making little changes here and there, it keeps you going.
Okay, that's truly motivating, and I agree with you with all of that. So, moving forward, how do you define gender equality and social inclusion in the specific context of South Asian minority women?
Okay, Tasveer, before responding to this question, I would like to add one more comment. You said that you found my response motivating. That's very kind of you. But what I have noticed during this journey, that people like to hear very moving stories that are very well crafted, and I'm not a good storyteller. Because I believe that and nowadays a lot of focus is on how do you deliver. I have been against marketing one's personal agony or disadvantages or ordeals. Let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about the bigger causes. Let's talk about my region. Now, coming back to this question, I won't go into the academic definition. Anybody can Google and find it. How I and social inclusion in the specific context of South Asia. Now, South Asia, by faith, by caste, by religion, by creed, by socioeconomic status, by your political ideology, by your gender or sexual orientation. So there are a lot of divisions. So gender context, but when we talk about South Asia, it becomes even more challenging due to our historical context. If you look at the colonization history, if you look at the fact that how two countries were established, Pakistan and India, and then how Pakistan was dismembered and another country, Bangladesh, emerged on the map of the world, and then there are so many conflicts that happen in other countries, in Nepal or in Sri Lanka. If you include Afghanistan, you can see what has happened. It's a war-torn country. So everyone is affected. But women and girls, they are affected more. And the irony is that most of us, even though there is now a lot of emphasis on this whole concept of gender, they don't internalize this, that whenever that we have to look at the intersections of this statelessness and displacement and poverty. And when I say poverty, I do not mean only poverty of income, but poverty of opportunities as well. So what needs to be done if you want to have gender equality, which is yet to be achieved anywhere in the world? I mean, you can achieve some minor goals. I mean, whether it doesn't sound technically correct, because goal is something that cannot be achieved, but some smaller objectives, if you can say. So gender equality and social inclusion for the women that you're talking about, for whom your organization is deeply connected with, they should be heard first. They should be seen first, because this is the real dilemma and root of the problem. We are not seen, we are not heard, and then they should be protected. When I say protected, it does not mean patronizing. It does not mean that they should be controlled. It does not mean that they should be seen as somebody, who cannot make decisions, who are unable to think, and who are unable to sustain themselves. It's all about, providing them a level playing field. It's all about providing them equal access to justice. It's all about providing them opportunities that will enable them so that they could advocate their own case. Whenever somebody introduces my like that, oh, she's Rakshinda, or many other Rakshindas like myself, and we work with poor communities, or we work with disadvantaged communities, and this is their problem, I actually feel very bad about myself as well. Who am I to represent them? They should get a seat at the table. And this is the point where most of us, no matter how humanitarian or how human or empathetic we appear. And I'm not criticizing this. I have seen and experienced in my more than 3 decades of learning and unlearning experiences that people, even if they are activists, they do not want really a fundamental change in the class, in the status quo. It should always be like that I am your savior and I make decisions for you. And, or maybe a Begum Saiba giving a Salai machine or a computer to a disadvantaged woman. And you can see the difference. And so it's not about, that thinking that why she cannot be in the parliament, why she cannot be heading an NGO, why she is not, representing a business community, why she, if a woman is there from the disadvantaged community or from, minority, whether it is religious minority or ethnic minority or gender or sexual minority, she has to be, at the grassroots level. And we feel very bad and offended. And if any one of those women, they get some power, or they are there, they are, I mean, overall women are not treated very well, by the way. Even those who are from privileged class, even those who become prime ministers or presidents, or any other power, they get any power position, even they get a lot of criticism. But this class issue or this minority issue, it goes along with them a long way. So it is very difficult to get rid of it. So again, I would repeat, just for the sake of, emphasizing, the first, we should be seen, we should be heard. I mean, and then we should be protected by the state.
Okay, yeah. So I was saying, I really love how you perceive this whole thing in a bigger picture. I really relate to whatever you said. So my next question is, as reflected in your background and your recent work on Biharis, what are your thoughts on the Bihari minority living in Bangladesh?
Thank you, and thank you for specifying it, because I was about to do it. That Biharis are the people from Bihar, which is a province in India, which was, I think, divided at different points in the history, and the most recent division was division of Bihar into Jharkhand and Bihar province. So anybody who belongs to this province, or as they call state in India, is a Bihari. But we are, or I am especially talking about for the last 15 years in my formal advocacy, and being someone who is born into this community, maybe from my birth, because I'm a survivor of a genocide as well. We are talking about people of Bihar who are Muslims, and who voted for Pakistan, and then they migrated to the eastern part or western part of the Pakistan. But here again, my focus is on those people who migrated to the eastern part or the former East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, and all those who migrated from either Bihar or even from other parts of India, but they were non-Bengalis or Urdu speakers, so they are also called Biharis. It is not necessary that they are actually from Bihar. So this needs to be, consciously understood, because sometimes identities get mixed up, because even Bihar was once a part of Bengal. I think it was like that. As I said, that it was divided, and we have very long history of the subcontinent. So we don't go into this history lesson right now. Now, what are the issues? Now, when a community becomes stateless, so statelessness itself is an issue. So everybody who is a stateless person, irrespective of gender or age, has a sizable number of problems, and they have their specific share of problems. But when women are displaced, when women are stateless, and so they are more poor, they are more vulnerable, because they have overlapping vulnerabilities. And needless to emphasize that women have always been used, not only in our part of South Asia, but in all parts of the world. They have always been used as instruments of war. Okay, and the war itself is a bad thing, or conflict itself is a bad thing, and unfortunately, vulnerable communities they become involved in the situations in which they have no say. They don't start conflicts, they don't start wars, they don't control it, they don't end it, but they become the victims. And the victims are not always remembered. The worst victim, I mean, there are different forms of victims. Some victims, they're taken care of by UN agencies, or, social welfare organizations or charity organizations, but there are some victims who are actually hated, and they are just, or they are forgotten as the collateral damage. This could be patriots who stood for a united Pakistan. I'm not commenting on the merit of the decision. It was that they were caught in a situation where they have no choice, and they thought that they should be, able to prevent this country from dismembering. And in return, this invited the wrath of Mukti Bainis, or what we call, they're also seen as freedom fighters. So, the same situation has a different interpretation for different communities. It was liberation for one community and separation for another community. But what was the outcome? The outcome was not in favor of this community. And after some initial repatriation, the process was frozen due to a number of political and social reasons, and they got stuck in those makeshift or temporary arrangements, which are seen as camps, but they are not camps if you ask me, technically, according to the UN definition, and they don't have the refugee status. I don't say that being a refugee is also something very, desirable, but they are not even refugees, because at least refugees are accepted, they're documented, and they have some rights, or there are some organizations who are seen as responsible for them, for their welfare. So these are stateless people, and who are welcome nowhere, not in Bangladesh, and of course not in the country for which they are associated emotionally or politically or ideologically. And 54 years have elapsed, and the problem is still there. And the worst aspect is that it is not even seen as a problem. Many of us in Pakistan, they've never thought about them, or those who know a little about them, they think that they already got nationality, and now they are Bangladeshis, which is not true, because if you're a citizen of a country, then you should be able to have your passport, you should be able to live in proper homes, not in those settlements. So women, coming to the women part, they face more problems. Why? Because we all know that women, even if they are not displaced, even if they are not refugees, even if they are not stateless, they have greater burdens. They have to bear greater burden of blame, and they are also weaponized. So when women in such situations, so they are exposed to poverty of income, poverty of opportunities, trafficking, abuse. Because when men, imagine a community living under such situations, what about the mental health and emotional health of men and boys? When people live in very normal, what you call normal circumstances, transit, even then abuse happens. So imagine women who are living there. So they have both, nothing, they're safe nowhere, not in those camps. Where they have, problems that are connected with their immediate environment, and of course, externally there's no support. So they are socially excluded, and they face multi-layered inequality. And I want to emphasize that it is difficult for me, and I should not be doing this. But I don't know. I feel the urge to say it so, because I'm not here to give perfect answers. So I want to share my imperfection as well. So therefore, I'm saying it, that we should not be, quantifying anybody's trauma. But suppose, for as an exercise, if you have to ask, what is the biggest problem, or what is the most painful aspect of this whole scenario, to me it is the fact that their genocide is not even acknowledged, while the genocide of one community has been widely documented in academia, in political history, and donors and technical agencies know about it. The genocide of this community is not acknowledged, and people have no knowledge. I mean, in spite of Google and now AI, they have no knowledge that what exactly genocide means. I mean, nowadays, in the backdrop of the situation in Palestine, we are hearing this word a lot. But do we really know about it? Genocide is not about killing people in a certain number. It is about target killing with certain aim, and they're, academically there are at least 10 stages, and I have documented all these in my different podcast and in my writings and in my recent book as well, that I'm not saying this from an emotional point of view, but from academic point of view also. They have experienced the genocide, and the genocide is still going on, because genocide is not about killing someone physically, because so genocide is still in progress. And why I am saying so through your platform, because I have seen that people who are seen as academics, they have fancy degrees in history, political science, IR, defense, and strategic studies, I should not go on, and because then they become the experts, and then they sound impressive and convincing, and then they also get opportunities to appear at powerful platforms and publish in credible newspapers. And I just get really shattered, because I am a very sensitive person as well, and maybe I'm not that strong. I still get shattered when I see, when they write that, okay, there was some killings, it was revenge killing, but that was not genocide. That was not genocide. Or because they were doing this or that. It is just like that, and you can draw a parallel in today's situation, that the whole world, I mean, those who matter, I'm not talking want to comment people who are showing solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza or Rafah, that okay, it's good if they're dying from starvation, forced starvation, from displacement, because they are allied with Hamas, which is a terrorist group. I mean, I'm not taking any position. I'm just saying. So where is humanity? Where is empathy? And how do you know who is siding with whom? You see? And in this world where we talk about a lot of human rights, and now when we are speaking, 16 days of activism to eliminate or to end violence against women and girls are being commemorated around the world. And on 10th of December, International Human Rights Day is celebrated. I just wonder, again, I should not be wondering though at my age and stage, of this work, but I still get astonished that what human rights are you talking about? When in a normal place means in a civilized, socialist countries, because I have serious objections against these terms as well, because when you look at the colonial history, the way indigenous people have been treated again, in many developed countries, which are seen as civilized countries, where who are seen as the champions of human rights, what happened there? And now they lecture us about human rights because we are not performing well. I mean, so the human rights lens actually allows even a killer or a worst form of I don't know how to say it. I mean, even the person who is a rapist, you just cannot do the mob justice. You just cannot hang that person. That person has to go through a trial, should go through a trial. I mean, so given a chance to explain the position. But here, I mean, nobody is even giving that opportunity. And a child, an armless person, an armless woman, they are killed or they are abused. So I just, uh, shared this bigger picture just to draw attention to this particular community. That imagine what is happening in those camps, in inverted commas, around 70 camps in 13 or 14 cities and towns of Bangladesh, including its capital, Dhaka. And there is inconsistency in data as well. And there is no, one data set, but whatever information that we could get, it suggests this that there are people who are around 300,000 and or even more, maybe 300,000 and 3 lakhs or 24,000. But and their living conditions. So the women and girls, they are not even considered minority groups. Imagine, because you are an expert in working on minority rights. So they are not even, seen in that category. So they are the worst sufferers even within the minority groups.
Right. Thank you for sharing all of that, Dr. Rakshinda. I really found that reflection moving. It was truly moving. So, moving forward, what are your thoughts on religious and caste identities that shape the experiences of womanhood in South Asia?
Okay, I love this question because it's a bold question. We want to avoid such areas because there are a lot of dangers.
Right.
It's a risky question. Thanks for asking me. So a part of my response actually lies in your very question as well. At first, we have to admit that religious, ethnic, and caste identities exist in South Asia, and they do influence our everyday decisions, our politics, our laws, our social norms, everything. Because there are people who may be very idealistic. They just want to say, no, no, no. They want to remain, no, we all are one. There is no such thing. I mean, it should be like that, but let's admit it, it's not like that. Now, when these factors they influence everyone. Again, whenever there is some problematic scenario or disadvantage situation, women and girls, they get greater share. And within women and girls, those who are in minority, the more disadvantaged they are, they get more disadvantages. So what happens then? I mean, some people say, so what? I mean, everybody is suffering, so what? Some even try to defend that these are our traditions. For instance, the custom of dowry in South Asia. What happens that it limits women and girls. Okay, it limits their mobility. It limits even the possibility of their growth. There is no such concept for them. And there's another thing, human dignity. And since it is not quantifiable or it is not visible, I mean, it's not something tangible. I mean, it's a feeling, and all you need is, that empathetic lens to look at it, at how are they treated. So everything is compromised. Everything is compromised. And the worst, the worst aspect of this whole compromise and of this religious and ethnic and caste identities is that nobody seems to be disturbed by it. And it is rooted in patriarchy. And nobody wants to challenge patriarchy. You must have seen those reports by UN that it will take at least 300 years to get legal parity. And there's another report by WEF, World Economic Forum, that 136 years. Now this is for the whole world. So imagine how many years more or how many more centuries would be required for South Asia. And as I said earlier, that South Asia is also not, even. So what about those countries or those parts of the of any one country that are more disadvantaged now. So this equality and inclusion seems, with this speed of work and with this mindset, may require many more centuries, to get it changed. So should we wait for that long? No. As active and as human rights defenders, we should be doing something about it, and we should highlight that please get disturbed by these. Please challenge patriarchy. Please challenge selective interpretation and faith that harm women and girls, especially those women and girls who are from minority groups.
Right. That was well explained. So, as we come towards the end, I would like to ask you, what advice would you give to a young minority woman who wants to enter activism or leadership roles but feels discouraged?
What I have learned, that we should not be offering any advice to anyone, because people have their own way of looking at their issues, and they choose their own path, or the chooses them. But still, when some younger people, they ask me, I tell them that I'm not here to advise you. I can only share what I have experienced, and that I am sharing. So it's not an advice. I mean, they have to make their own decisions. And I have also written about it, that it is, I mean, it's not necessary that everyone should become activist, because there is a cost of activism, and we should be very honest with ourselves that what exactly we want to achieve. Do we want to get a fortune or followers on our Instagram, or do we really want to make some degree of transformative change, no matter at a small scale, in a small community? Because structural barriers and social stigma, they are huge. And it's not possible for one person. I mean, we claim that, okay, this person has done this, but a lot of other factors, they play together, and then you are able to make a change. So the first, hack that I'm sharing is try to work with others. We cannot do it all alone. We cannot do it all alone. And those who want to be, the solo player, I don't know, maybe they have a sexual calling, but I mean, I have worked as an entrepreneur and as a solopreneur as well, and I think that nobody can do it, single-handedly. I mean, of course, the leadership is there, and they usually they get the credit, but you have to collaborate with others as well. So this is also very important. And all young women, and especially young women from minority groups, they should first be able to identify their own power. When I say power, it doesn't mean they will that it's only, because when we say power, we usually interpret it's power of position or pedigree, but there is also power of knowledge, information, skills, and passion. So we may not be powerful in the conventional sense, but never feel helpless. And every barrier that you identify, first you have to identify, and then you will find a way to break it. And when you break it, or you try to break it, to never forget to open doors for someone else as well. So courage, creativity, and consistency. I mean, it is for everyone. This combination works for everyone. But for us who are disadvantaged in so many ways, who are seen as minority women, and if you're living and working in South Asia, because geography also makes a lot of difference, you have seen that women and girls who have migrated or who opted for immigration from this part to what you call developed parts of the world, they have a totally different pathway, the destiny change. So if you're living and working in such situations, it becomes even more important to collaborate, to find your allies, to see who can support you, to also identify the forces of resistance, because your safety is also important, and set realistic targets. I'm not asking you to stop dreaming, but just be realistic that you cannot, change a centuries-old patriarchy through one project, which no matter how well resourced, is a project that may end. So just do little things, but maintain your passion. Because as we say, because cricket is very common in this region, that if you what you do if that if you hit the sixer, I mean, you get applause. But if you get clean bowled in the very next ball, what happens? I mean, staying at the wicket is also important. And it's so do it, because it's a long journey, and it's a long way to go. So maintain your courage, maintain your optimism, maintain your consistency, and keep yourself updated. Keep learning and unlearning and learning new things and new skills as well. And unfortunately, I cannot share any magical recipe, because I haven't found any magical recipe as yet. What I have found, and I'm sharing with you, is that you are the magic.
Right. That was very well explained. I found it truly inspirational for the women out there. So I hope that whatever you said, it brings a change. So winding up, is there something else you need to add to this conversation?
Well, the conversation should remain, in progress. Let's not end this conversation. It's not about doing one podcast with me. I mean, it should be like, a continued process of engaging such stakeholders. And again, what life has taught me is that we like to get empowered, but we should be ready to pay the price of empowerment, because there is a lot of convenience in subordination. And so it's a difficult choice. And if you like subordination, I know many will criticize me. It's okay. I mean, everybody's not, supposed, or it's not mandatory for everyone to make a lot of sacrifices. It's okay if you like to remain subjugated, if you like, because you get some convenience. It's okay. It's your choice. But be aware of your choices. Don't do anything under compulsion. So you have to empower yourself first, and then you can empower others. And this empowerment begins with the freedom of expression and freedom of choices.
Right. I absolutely agree. So this has been an incredibly meaningful conversation. Thank you, Dr. Rakshinda, for your time and your commitment to women empowerment. And thank you to our viewers listening today. At SARIM, we believe that amplifying these voices is the first step towards change. Stay connected with us through sarimwatch.original and our social media pages for more dialogues on peace, inclusion, and minority rights in South Asia. Until next time, this is Tasveer Fatima signing off from the SARIM podcast. Thank you for listening. Allah Hafiz, Dr. Rakshinda. It was great having you.
Thank you, Tasveer. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.